Hey, welcome to the Drop and Stone Podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a little bit rainy outside.
Yeah, a little bit of a dreary day.
It's my kind of day. The Scots have a word for this. It's called drake.
Oh, like the duck?
Drake?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sort of, but I think it's like Dreich.
Oh.
It's a little bit rainy outside.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's another word. I don't know what it is.
Piss and rain.
That it's like somebody that enjoys like this kind of atmosphere.
It's called Nick.
It's also, my daughter loves rainy days like this.
Me
like it just
too.
fits her vibe. They've been tempting us all day, saying that it was going to rain.
Yeah.
And kept getting pushed back, and then finally 3 o'clock. Boom.
Boom. The skies parted and the or the skies open. I guess they didn't part.
Yeah. It was nice though.
Yeah.
Nice 30, not even 30 minutes.
No.
20 minutes maybe.
But it was like
max.
a deluge.
Yeah, it was coming
great.
down.
Yeah. Again, I love that we talk about the weather.
Well, you're just two old men.
Whoa.
Any ailments been bothering you recently?
Yeah, my right knee is still like, I got a little thing going on.
Bro, I had a head cold.
Did you
like
really?
half the week.
That sucks.
Yeah. It's been very upsetting to deal with it for the past few days.
Yeah.
But I'm finally over it.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
I was kind of worried there for a little bit of like, what crazy thing have I got now?
What kind of mold have I inhaled?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Ugh. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Speaking of feeling better,
Yeah.
you want to drink something?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What you got this week?
Yeah, I got a bottle.
No, you've got a bottle in a coffin.
Yeah, it's one of those bottles.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
This is the Little Book.
Ooh, it's a Jim Beam product?
It is a Jim Beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Famously, the Booker's, which is the other bottle that comes in the coffin.
Correct.
By Booker No.
Right.
So I believe this is from Freddie No.
His son?
I believe so.
Son or grandson? I can't remember which.
One of those.
Yeah.
Relative of some sort.
Sure. They share the same last name.
Yes, but this is his take on essentially the same concept of blending together different distillates at the Beam Distillery and putting together their own blend.
Yeah.
And trying to make an interesting thing.
How much do you know about it? Like, is it like a bunch of different Jim Beams put together? Or is it like
It comes with the information tag,
the novel? Yeah.
but it's not as descriptive
Okay. As the Booker's?
as the Booker's was. If
Yeah.
you remember that Booker's, it came with a little bit of a mini novel,
Yeah.
Short story, informative card. I've still got it. I kept it, because
Okay.
I thought that was really neat. This is more or less just like a breakdown of the recipe. It doesn't give you this one does have a title. I think they do keep that aspect into it. Like
Yeah.
the Booker's that we had, I believe was something like the Sawmill.
Yeah.
Something like
Something
that.
like that. Right.
This one is called In Retrospect.
Oh.
It's chapter 7.
Okay.
Came out last year in 2023.
Right.
I think it was the last of that year.
Okay.
I think Booker's is
A 3-season thing?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think it's 3 a year, maybe 4 a year. I'm not
Okay.
totally sure.
Hit me with some nerdy stuff.
All right. So this blend is made from. It doesn't give you percentages, which is kind of a bummer.
Okay.
But there is some 18-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, some 17-year, some 10-year.
Whoa. 18, 17, 10. Okay.
18 bourbon,
Gotcha.
17-year bourbon,
Okay.
a 10-year rye,
Okay.
a 9-year bourbon, a 5-year straight malt whiskey finished in Applewood smoked barrels,
Okay.
a 4-year Kentucky straight bourbon, and a 4-year Kentucky straight rye.
Whoa.
Yeah, all of that.
There's a lot going on in that.
Yeah, all of that in this blend.
Okay, so you're going to tell me all that, but you're not going to give me a percentage?
Correct.
It's because it's like 0.5% 17-year bourbon.
Probably.
And so the Booker's is the one that gave you the percentage-wise.
Correct.
But the Little Book does not give you percentage. It just gives you that recipe kind of breakdown.
Yeah,
Okay.
just gives you the recipe.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm interested.
I feel like there was something recently that we've had that it did give it a breakdown like that of years and stuff. But anyway.
Well,
and then
the founders did that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The Chattanooga founders did that.
Yep, totally the same kind of thing.
What else nerdy stuff you got?
On the other side, it gives you some color, aroma, taste, and finish notes.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, you can tell me that later.
Yeah. It has essentially the same presentation of the Booker's.
Very similar.
Comes in the casket,
Yep.
but then it's got like the full wax seal,
Yep.
A little ribbon note. Really pretty color. I don't know if that black wax is influencing it that much, but it's dark.
It's dark. It's like just in the bottle, like that thing is mahogany. Like it is like it's got those like nice reds in it.
Yeah.
I like that the on the bottle and just like hold it up. Yeah, look at that. Like I like that the label's not centered.
Yeah.
It's like
A little off skew.
just off skew. Yeah, that's so good.
Little bottle word.
Yeah.
Wordage.
Sure.
As the 8th generation master distiller, Fred B. No Distillery, Freddie No, pays homage to his granddaddy, Booker.
Oh, okay.
Granddaddy, by naming his first spirit Little Book.
There it is.
That's the name Booker gave him, and now this spirit. Just the kind Booker would have loved.
So it's his granddaddy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just the kind Booker would have loved. So he's saying like he's
This is
made
an homage
this
to my
in
grandfather.
homage to my granddad.
Yeah, that's
something
really
my
cool.
granddad would have liked. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Cool.
All right.
Coming in at 59.05%,
Oh yeah.
118.1 proof.
I love it.
Blended whiskey.
You know what I love even more?
What's that?
I love you. Pop that bottle. Nice. You've had a little splash.
Yeah. So got this in Maine.
Yeah.
When we were up in Maine. You know, we went for a bottle. We didn't get that bottle. That bottle was gone.
Oh yeah. I was like, we went to Maine to get a bottle.
But it was literally the first time I'd ever seen Little Book.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, absolutely.
To be fair, we were kicked out of this liquor store.
Oh yeah, it was closing time.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it was like 10 minutes after closing.
Yeah,
time.
they were like, all right, y'all got to get something and go.
Yeah, boys, what are you doing? We're leaving.
Yeah.
After we buy this.
After I buy this bottle.
The wax dulls the little clink there a little bit. Beautiful.
So yeah, when we got back, I opened it up, tried it out. I really like to open my bottles as soon as I can, just to kind of let them open up too. A little
Sure,
bit. Like that,
sure.
that, just to get a little air in there.
Yeah, I mean, we're both notorious for like at one point having saved a bunch of bottles and like, okay, all right, well, I can't open it yet. And now I'm like, nah. I get home and like, I'm gonna crack that thing.
Well, and I feel like I feel like once you've gotten into the bottle is when you really kind of get to experience
Exactly.
what that whiskey is.
Sure.
It's not that first crack.
No.
Rarely ever does that.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about that neck pour. I don't totally believe in that, but I do believe in like opening it up and getting a little bit out, and then that way you get some air in there to kind of just again open it up.
Yep, for sure.
But man, even in the glass, look at this thing. Like that is dark AF.
Yeah, pretty color.
It's beautiful.
Ooh, I got some chunky bits.
I do too.
Nice.
Little floaters. But I love that like brown sugar mahogany, like that slight bit of red,
Yeah.
like cherry wood red. I really like that in
Yeah,
there.
or applewood.
Oh, that's what I meant. I don't know if I can distinguish applewood from cherrywood, but you know, on the nose.
On the nose.
Oh yeah, there's where you get all the applewood and cherrywood. Like,
Yeah.
you can just definitely distinguish.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, I get hit first with like burn.
Good, get a bit of proof.
Yeah, but like sweet proof too. Ethanol and then sweet.
Yeah, and like not just like a generic bourbon sweet.
No,
Sidestepped.
it's bright sweet though. Like I would expect the thing to me being this dark in color, that'd be a really like dark syrupy sweet. And
It is like fruity sweet,
fruity sweet's good. Yeah.
but it's also dusty.
Yes.
Like I get like the age kind of note
For sure.
from it.
It's like forgive the pun, but it's like walking into like an old bookshop, like a used bookshop.
Yeah, I'm getting a good bit of tobacco.
Totally. But like specifically blended pipe tobacco or like flavored pipe tobacco.
Yeah, bit of leather. Pretty nose.
Very pretty nose. And some really like nice fruit notes. Like not just that bright fruit sweet, but I'm getting a little bit of apple.
Yeah, you could convince me of like Luxardo.
Yeah,
Cherry.
for sure. Now that we've conjured that in our minds. All right, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Enough sniffing time for sipping?
Let's do it.
Oh, buddy. Wow.
Grabs the back of your throat.
Wow. Like,
Listen to me.
It definitely does, but not as much as I thought it would. Like, I'm kind of easing into that Kentucky hug a little bit. Like, oh,
It's getting down there.
yeah. It's not a really punchy.
Proof.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a wave.
Exactly.
It doesn't like grab you and just like keep it there. Like, some like high proof whiskeys, like it just cinches up the sides of your tongue.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of like squint and just
You gotta
let it eventually
hold on.
ease off. But
Yeah.
this one just kind of just waves over.
Yeah,
Just,
exactly.
oh, there, yeah. And okay.
The sweetness is really nice.
Yeah. And there's like a pop of a sour too.
Yeah. And also like a really like dark, rich, not quite molassesy on the bitter to me. Like it's heading in that direction.
Sure.
But it's like if you were to cut molasses with like corn syrup maybe or something like that. There's like a dark, rich sweet. And then there's some other sweet in there that's like providing some bright notes.
Yeah. And like currant.
Specifically, yeah.
Like black currant.
Right.
Like that almost like
Heading towards grapey, but not
Yeah, like
quite
plummy.
there. Yeah, yeah.
somewhere in there.
Like I think that's right. Somewhere between a plum and a grape. Like
Yeah.
in that, man.
Good mouthfeel too.
The oily nature I really like, but it's not so oily that it like clings forever. Mm-mm. But that bitter hangs on, but like that oily nature, oh man.
The mouthfeel while it's in your mouth is very viscous. It's very thick and molasses-y.
It's chewy, yeah.
But then when you do swallow it, it does just kind of
exactly
leaves your tongue clean, just boom.
Like I don't know if this works as a descriptor, but like you ever wiped glass with like Windex? You know how like Windex dries very quickly,
right?
Like, that's what I almost exactly. That's what I imagine in my mouth. Like I swallow the liquid and it's like gone,
right?
But the only thing that hangs on is that slight bitter on the back end, and then weirdly for me, the sweet on the tip of the palate. That is fantastic.
That's fun, and I think that's like again in our search for more interesting American whiskey.
Yeah,
the blend coming from like a big bourbon distillery to put together an interesting blend. Hell yeah.
Well, and I'm
think all for that.
For me, same with the Bookers, that this really drives home that a massive distillery like Jim Beam is capable of doing really interesting things.
Right.
So, it's easy. I think people I think distilleries like Jim Beam are sometimes dismissed just because, it's Jim Beam. And obviously, like, we recognize that Jim Beam does a lot of products and they pump out a lot of good things.
Right.
But it's easy to say, like, when you put Jim Beam on there, it's like, oh, it's Jim Beam.
Right.
But clearly, they know what they're doing. I mean, they're one of the biggest distilleries for a reason.
Right.
Not just because of the product Jim Beam, but also because of all the cool shit they're doing.
Yeah. Tasty bit.
And it's this kind of thing that like renews or restores my faith in what bourbon can be.
Sure.
On that same note, it's also, this is difficult to find. This is an expensive bottle. Not everyone who likes bourbon is going to be able to get their hands on this. So it's we've talked about this before. It's that dichotomy of like,
well, and like a conversation that we were having off podcast the other day of, I think it's going to take, like, obviously, again, this being Beam, it's got a lot of heft behind it.
Right.
And they can kind of do that. But like, you could also have smaller distilleries, craft distilleries that are acquiring whiskeys and barrels and things like that and can put some things together, much like they do across the pond.
Yeah.
And I think we said it recently in another podcast. I think it was probably that Chattanooga Founders episode of, I think these American distilleries have been waiting for the American whiskey drinker to catch up to that desire. And I think we're there now. And so hopefully we'll start seeing more stuff kind of come through like that. And since I've had this bottle, doing a little bit of research on the Little Book, it is hit or miss. It can be just like any other kind of batchy kind of a thing.
Yeah, I've read that too.
Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's off, and it just kind of depends on the one. But this one does seem to be very well received when it came out last year. Everybody kind of talked about it as being like the return of the Little Book.
Yeah.
Because it kind of lost its way for a few chapters there.
And to me, I like that kind of thing where, the whiskey community is also open to discussing those kind of things in so much as like, yeah, it's all good, but like, this is the one.
Yeah.
Can you find this one?
Right.
Kind of thing. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Agreed.
Well, now that we've got a fantastic drink.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about this week?
All right. I feel like this has the potential to be very much like a pivotal moment in Dreppenstone.
Oh.
It's kind of like Dreppenstone Inception.
Okay.
It's like an episode within an episode kind of a thing.
How much editing do I have to do?
I don't think too much. I don't think too much. Trailer came out this week.
Yes, it did. I don't know what trailer you're talking about, but I'm just saying it absolutely did. What trailer are you talking about?
It's a trailer that I think is very important to the history of Dreppenstone.
Does it involve Michael Keaton?
Nope. It's going to go all the way back to episode 2 of Dreppenstone.
Give me a second. Joker. That we never talked about.
You know what trailer came out this week?
Joker trailer?
The Joker 2. It's great.
Is it really?
We're going to talk about that trailer.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
All right, so we got to take a second. First.
Okay, sure.
First and foremost, did you ever watch The Joker?
I did.
Thoughts?
Okay, so I watched it twice.
Yep.
First time I watched it was on a plane.
Yep.
So like all the super gory bits, gone.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
They muted it?
Yeah, they just skipped over it. Like I didn't even notice it. I had no idea. Like
you just thought that was the way the movie was.
Yeah, like
interesting.
I think it's been out long enough. We can spoil Joker a little bit. The scene where Robert De Niro's character shoots himself.
Yep.
Or
no.
He's shot.
Joker shoots.
Shoots him. Yeah. That happens, but you don't see.
They don't show him.
Right, but
Gotcha.
in the actual like the version I saw,
Right.
they cut that out. They cut some of like the more violent things where he's like beating up the dudes in the subway car. Like they cut some of that, like some of the violent nature of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and I was like, oh,
I guess what a bizarre choice for the
For
airline
sure.
to decide to air this movie.
Well, the 5-year-old
Was it like one of the ones of like it drops a screen and that's playing?
No.
Oh, it was just like in seat?
Yeah, in seat. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was kind of weird.
That's so strange.
Yeah, but anyway,
Second time you saw it.
second time I saw it, I was like, whoa, that's way grittier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
Right.
I think honestly, to me, like it's sacrilegious to say almost at this point, I like this version of Joker more than Ledger's version.
I said that exact sentence like an hour ago.
Did you really?
Explaining it to Lorelai.
Yeah.
I said the exact same thing. I think I might like this one a bit better. I mean, certainly I think you can argue, as many people have, that The Dark Knight is a story about the Joker.
Sure.
It's not necessarily about Batman, but it's also not an origin story.
No.
It's a more
you
of
kind
a
of catch in the middle.
Yeah, I'm kind of already to where I need to be the Joker.
Right.
Whereas the Joker, as we watch it with Joaquin Phoenix, it is an origin story. It's
Truly.
How did you get here?
Yeah.
And it's absolutely saddening and horrifying and thrilling.
Yeah.
And it really is.
It's also humanizing as well, and I think that's
Yeah.
something that you get a little bit in The Dark Knight, but like that's what I think DC needs more of. Just like in the kind of the pantheon of the whole thing, where Marvel's shtick is funny, humor, sarcasm, witty.
Sure.
I think because you have characters like Superman and Batman, and these kind of like OP characters in a way, you need to humanize them, and you need to humanize everything. And so I think that's what, to me, Joker does, is it humanizes that character, and it makes you feel just terrible for him.
Yeah, and I think it gives you a bit of sympathy and empathy towards the character, because now you can understand, like, yeah, how does anybody go through that,
Right.
and not come out
Yeah.
twisted and warped and with an absolute warped understanding of society.
I think it's also a really good presentation of mental illness, especially mental illness when the individual knows that there's something wrong and can only help themselves so much, as so many people who are experiencing mental illness issues are, and then reaching out for help, and then there being no help given, or the help is limited. And I think, like, to me, that is it's bureaucracy, it's mental health, it's all of these things. Like, the movie is doing so much work in the best way possible.
Right.
Okay, I know that's not what you want to talk about.
Well, no, but that's it's so funny because we've joked about this, we've laughed about this for 4 years now. That was our second episode. Was we talked about the trailer of the Joker.
Okay.
I didn't see the movie for like 3 years.
Me neither.
After that,
Literally, I saw it. Like, I can tell you, the movie came out 2019 because
Right.
it's our second episode.
Right.
I didn't see it until I was on a plane post-COVID, like maybe one of my first plane rides
Right.
post-COVID. So like
Right.
22 maybe.
Right.
So like a good 3 years.
I mean,
like
it was one of those things where it finally was on a service that I had,
Right.
and it was just like, you know what?
I should watch this.
I always wanted to see it. I've heard it's good. I'm just eventually going to watch it, and I did, and it knocked my socks off.
It's-
First viewing.
yeah.
I think I've watched it one other time since then. I definitely want to watch it now again before I go see the sequel. But it is such an interesting, and like I was explaining it too, of like it came out at such a weird time.
Sure.
Where the MCU was at its height.
Yep.
Of interconnected 30 movies, all of this stuff. It all means something within the same thing. And the DC universe was still trying to be that.
They're trying to establish that, right?
And then you threw in this otherworld Joker movie.
Yeah.
And it was so like, I don't understand.
I'll say this before we watch the trailer. I think now it absolutely makes sense in terms of now you have like the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yep.
And so I'm absolutely okay with all of these different iterations of these characters, because like the Joker is set in what, maybe the 70s? Like it feels very 70s.
Yeah. Late 60s, maybe.
Yeah. And so like it makes sense.
Yep.
And then this Robert Pattinson Batman is set sort of in a
Who
current
knows?
time, but
Who
like
knows?
maybe in the future too.
Maybe in the
But
past.
maybe in the past. So like, I think it all kind of works.
Yeah.
You know, if you maybe take out some of the Zack Snyder stuff, which I haven't watched a whole lot of, but if you take out some of that stuff, I'm actually okay with that.
Oh, I think it's actually like in DC's favor that
Exactly,
they actually
exactly.
did it when they did it. I think at the time it was very confusing and very.
It was.
I don't understand the point of it. Why are you doing this and not showing me more Batfleck? You know,
exactly.
like I'm so confused by it.
And also, I remember it raising a bunch of ire because people were like, "You can't do Joker because you did Ledger."
Yeah,
like Ledger did Joker.
He got the Oscar for it. Like you'll never beat that Joker.
Yeah, like,
and so it was just a very confusing moment. And I'm honestly like, I almost kind of think like, you know what? I bet I wouldn't have appreciated it had I seen it when it came out.
Agreed.
I bet I benefited from seeing it when I saw it personally, and it probably just hit me at the right point in time.
Yeah, I agree completely.
But anyway,
okay.
So we did that second episode where we hyped up this trailer, and then neither one of us saw the movie for like 3 years. Yeah. Classic.
That's and honestly, that's true Dripping Stone fashion now.
Yeah, for sure. Totally on brand. But this trailer came out this week,
okay,
and I saw it, and having seen the movie now, it looks so great.
Okay. So we're gonna
Nick's going to watch it now.
Okay. All right. So through the magic of editing, you're not going to watch the trailer with us. But 3, 2, 1, trailer. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm drawn to right away.
Yep.
Initially, something that I think Joker did well is, again, I talked about that mental health kind of perspective, and it blended his delusions of grandeur and all these things about himself and Robert De Niro's character.
Relationships that he was having with people.
Exactly. All figments of his imagination.
Yeah. Well, not all of it.
No, not everything.
Some of it, and like that was what was so interesting. Like what bits were real, what bits weren't.
Right. And that trailer did that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Of like, it's clear that some of this is happening in his mind,
right,
and some of this is happening in real life,
right,
and where like
it blends.
Where is that blend, and where is the end, where is the beginning? Like,
right,
that is
so cool.
I love the color palette that they've chosen here, and that obviously they've chosen the Joker, the first one, because it presents the super gritty nature of Gotham,
right,
like the that underbelly that I think a lot of the films got away from until like the Batman.
Sure.
Where like the Batman, and also the Pattinson version is also very gritty in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, in a very different way.
In a very different gritty, yeah. And I love, I love that.
I know.
Again, 1970s New York, basically, like this, or maybe 60s, like you said, like that's so good.
Yeah, and it's like it's the pops of color where they decide to use them, like the shot with the umbrellas, so cool.
Yeah, there's a shot with the umbrellas, and there's 4 cops with like really bright,
for some reason,
umbrellas
surrounded by this blue-gray dreary day,
and Joker is in the middle of it.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
and to me, like that's something that I really love about what some of the DC films are doing is that they're not just they're almost art films in a way. It's like they're trying, especially Joker, and I know I keep referencing the Pattinson Batman, but it's almost like we're trying to be this indie movie's not right, but like we're pushing these other things. Like we're not doing the humor of these other things. We're not doing the over the top superhero stuff. It's here's a almost a character driven movie,
right,
set against some art backgrounds.
Well, and for them to be placed where they are, like currently, obviously, like they're about to kick off a whole new connected universe. But for them to go ahead and set up that, like, you know what, we can also do these side films using these same characters that don't have to be a part of that, and go ahead and get you used to that, which is something that comic books have always done.
Exactly.
You know, they've almost flipped the script on Marvel of like, all right, well, we've already got this set up, or we can do this now, because you know what? We can always do a new movie with Batman in it, and it'll always make $1 billion. Like that's guaranteed almost. So we can also have our cinematic universe, connected universe, but we can also sit over here and do these fun and offer it to great directors. Hey, you want to do a Batman movie, but you don't want to do it in our connected universe where you're so restricted? Oh, cool. Come over here and do it over here on the side and just set it in a different time and place and knock it out.
And make it be character driven.
Yeah.
Because like you're taking this monumental villainous character in the Joker, and you're showing him as the protagonist, which is what we got a glimpse of in the Ledger Joker character.
Right.
And this is just like, okay, you guys like Joker. Here is a movie that he is protagonist.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic looking.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I remember when this one was announced with the title and everything, like they announced it as a musical.
Right.
Obviously, like Lady Gaga's playing Harley Quinn.
Sure.
Which in and of itself is like just bananas. Like that this character that was
But it makes sense.
introduced in an animated cartoon in the 90s has now risen to, you know, the crazy popularity that she has. But obviously you bring in her because, it's probably going to be a musical of some sort.
Sure.
But it's just so strange
also like,
and so weird and so niche and like off to the side specific nerddom that it's like.
There were scenes in there, I never saw La La Land, but there are scenes in there that like, of the scenes that I've seen, you know, like the big clips from La La Land, it's like, oh, you're playing with that. Or Moulin Rouge. I know, I'm so sorry. We've talked about it, and you know, it's like Avatar, which I started watching, by the way. I'm like 4 episodes in, and I enjoy it.
That's cool.
But like Moulin Rouge or like Chicago, these kind of like big set piece musicals, like I can totally see those influences there.
Yeah, but it is specific to La La Land, where they when they go into these almost like what I'm assuming is the Joker's like mind space,
right? And
everything is suddenly on a stage and lit and colorful, like a you know, classic musical.
Yeah.
It is very La La Land.
Yeah.
In that same way. And so the fact that you're thinking like La La Land, which is this, you know, love story gone awry, and now we're gonna pair that aesthetic with this murderous, psychotic Joker movie.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, and you said that like Lady Gaga, and it makes sense to me because of that.
Yeah.
Like her aesthetic just as an artist has always been weird. Like I don't know if there's any other way to say it. Like
campy.
Very campy, but also very like avant-garde artsy, like meat suit, things like that. So she's always been into obviously pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
But she's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah.
And she's a pretty good actor. The things that I've seen her in, like I never watched all of A Star Is Born, but like, again, seen enough of them, like, okay,
right,
she can do things. I know she's in was it the Gucci movie?
Sure.
And I know she did really, I didn't see it either, but I know she did really well in that. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think you can have Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga exist at the same time, and it makes sense.
Yeah. And that's what I meant by like it's so smart on DC's end to go ahead and get that out there that we can have multiple versions. We're gonna have our connected version, but then we can also have these separate versions that don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I think it would be so hard for Marvel right now if they wanted to do a similar thing and have an Iron Man movie off to the side right now,
right, or
a Captain America Steve Rogers
because
movie.
You're looking for that connection.
Well, and at the same time, you so want Chris Evans to be there, or you still want Robert Downey to be there as that character, and it would just be so hard. I mean, I think Marvel might be clutching the pearls kind of a thing of but maybe there's something in the future that we'll be able to do and still utilize it kind of a thing. But DC's already had to push past that barrier of like, we know you love the Ledger Joker, but obviously that's not going to happen anymore. But here's another version.
Well, and I think that what is working in DC's favor is that this looks so dramatically different than other things that we've seen.
Right.
And in a lot of these new iterations or the different retellings of things, it's not the same Marvel-esque. All of these movies actually look basically the same. They all have a similar 3-act structure. The color palette, you know, and I know we've talked about color palette in Marvel movies in the past, but they all roughly look like it's the mind of one individual, which is a whole nother, you know, separate thing that very clearly works very well.
Right.
Whereas this is these things are dramatically different, and that also I think is working well and is going to work very well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no CG.
Not that I've seen.
That's like noticeably like, you know, big giant robot or, you know, anything like that. So yeah, they're able to keep it much more and appropriate for the time period.
Absolutely.
Of what it appears to be.
It very clearly seems like Joaquin Phoenix is walking the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've seen like the behind the scenes of them filming any Marvel movie, they're all on a soundstage in Atlanta, and like it's like all blue and green in the background. You've got like one or two set pieces.
Right.
which is a whole other issue. But it's like DC, do more of that because you've already got characters that I love.
Well, but it goes back to that of like it works for the Joker, right? Because the Joker is not superpowered in any way. He's just a crazy man,
right?
And he works so well against Batman too. And I think that's when they work their best together. Is when you have the stories that show you Batman's a crazy person too.
Yeah.
Like he's just as crazy as the Joker. It's just like his life has been able to push his crazy into the realm of justice and heroism.
Oh yeah.
Where Joker's crazy life has pushed him towards psychotic, violent.
Harvey Dent says it best in Dark Knight of like, you guys are the same thing. You are this two sides of the same coin. He doesn't say that exactly, but again, obviously his famous line, or the famous line is, live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Die the hero.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, that's what that character is.
Right.
It's like, that's what the two-faced character is. You are the same thing. The villainous and the heroic is the same thing. It's just two sides of the same coin.
Right. Super jacked for it. Like, this is
too.
not one that I'll see this one.
Yeah.
Really soon.
Absolutely.
This one won't be.
Yeah.
3 years later.
No. And I think it's one of those like, good on them too. The filmmakers as a whole is like, clearly Phoenix wants to do this. Like, this is something that he wants to do.
Clearly, like he's going through a physical transformation.
Like he does not look good.
Yeah.
Good on them that, hey, we did the thing in 2019. It was successful. But because of obviously its continued success as well, here's another one, and this one's probably going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Right?
Oh.
What a good Dreppenstone flashback.
For sure.
Dreppenception.
Dripception.
As soon as I saw it, though, the other day, I was like, we've got to do that as an episode. That's too good.
Sure. That's too good.
We would be missing a grand opportunity.
Oh man,
we do that too often. So.
we do. So are we saying right now in October there's going to be an actual like Joker 2 episode?
Maybe not. There won't be an episode about it.
Well, I say we say that we're going to talk about it, and then we just never talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we do like a side thing.
We'll do it for the Insta
somewhere.
Twitters.
Yeah.
The Insta X's, the Insta Talks, whatever they're called. The Tick Grams.
This is the episode. This is the Joker 2 episode.
Sure. Just like the first one.
I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw it opening night. It was amazing. Loved every second of it.
Yeah, for sure. On that note.
You got
anything else?
Nah, I don't think so.
Nah, me neither. I don't have any more in my glass.
Yeah, no.
We might have to rectify that.
We can do that. We can totally fix that.
Okay. All right. So we want to know, what do you think of the Little Book by the Jim Beam Distillery?
Absolutely. Have you had a chance to sample a Little Book? Which chapter did you have?
Which chapter do we absolutely need?
Oh, that's one of those hard things.
Sure.
If it's chapter 2, yeah, don't even tell us.
Unless you're going to give it to us.
Yeah, unless you got a little sample bottle you're going to send us.
Yeah, we're totally good with a sample bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as long as it's a reputable sample bottle.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we have nothing but reputable listeners, so
True story.
Yeah. We also want to know, what do you think about the Joker Folie à Deux trailer?
Yeah.
Because
we're kind of jacked about it.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone. DREP and Stone. Find us where you socialize your media, and we'll be socializing some of ours right along.
Yeah, we got some really cool things going on there.
A lot of really cool things.
Yeah, little tasting things.
Oh, man, we're pairing whiskeys with whatever crazy item we can think of, and it's a shit ton of fun.
In fact, we're going to record one right now.
Sure.
Let's do the ending of the episode, and then we'll go.
All right, wrap it up.
Okay. And if you'd like to support the podcast, we'd absolutely love that. You can do so through our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/drepandstone. You can get yourself a couple bottles on Flaviar. That's flaviar.com. Use the promo code DSP10. Helps everything out. You can also help by rating Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. And finally,
it used to just be 3 ways.
I know.
I think we've gotten up to like 7.
8. Yeah, I had to cut some for time.
It's okay. I mean, we're growing.
Yeah, we are. Growing.
We're big boys now.
Yeah, we are. You can tell someone about Drep and Stone.
Yeah. Tell your grandmother.
Sure.
I know she drinks whiskey.
She does drink whiskey. Yeah.
And I know she likes listening to podcasts.
She does like listening to podcasts.
And she also loves the Joker.
She does love the Joker.
So just let her know about this episode specifically.
Yeah, your grandmother's going to love it. Trust us.
Mama. Have you listened to Drep and Stone's episode of the Joker?
Well, yes, I have.
Oh, wow, cool. You got any more purse candy?
Well, yes, Kyle, I do have some purse candy.
Oh, cool. On that note.
May your glass ever flow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. You know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be so good.
Okay. Yeah.
It was really weird. Like, totally off topic. Doesn't need to be in. Normally, I'm very much a fill up the cavity.
Sure.
Eventually blow it all out.
Right.
Over the course of 2 or 3 days.
Oh, that's definitely going in the bloopers.
But
I gotta sneeze.
Do it.
Well, now that I said I gotta sneeze, I can't sneeze.
Leave it in. I don't know. People might like it.